We live in a strange world. There's so much we can't explain. My name is Alex Hannaford, and I'm an investigative journalist. I've seen and heard all kinds of incredible stories.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's awful.
It just rained. It just rained fish.
And the evidence doesn't always stack up.
I've never heard anything like that in my life.
In this series, I'll investigate the most curious and astonishing events from all over the globe. My mission is to expose the truth about some of the world's weirdest phenomena. I'll meet witnesses.
Here we are, this is the mine.
Oh, they're in my feet!
Unbelievable.
It looked like something just blew them out of the sky.
They're everywhere! One just flew straight into my window!
Why this many and why on New Year's Eve?
I think it would have killed both of us instantly.
See the evidence firsthand.
They're everywhere. Hundreds of them.
Hey, look, look, oh my God, look, Glenn. And use the latest science to separate fact from fiction.
That's what science is. You try to explain something based on what you know. The more you know, the better off your understanding.
They are not crazy, they are correct, and it's just a matter of understanding the physics behind it.
That's incredible. To me, that's amazing.
Welcome to our strange world. No matter how well we think we know our planet, it still has the power to amaze us. From giant sinkholes to volcanic lightning and endless waves. The Earth is full of marvels, both unexpected and unexplained. It really is a strange world out there. I'm on my way to America to investigate one of our planet's strangest phenomena.
Oh my gosh.
A spook light. Locals in a southwestern corner of Missouri, near a town called Hornet, have claimed to see a mysterious floating ball of light.
My first thought was that it was the sun, but then I noticed that it was bouncing and a lot closer than the sun should have been.
It always appears on the same remote country road, in an area known as the Devil's Promenade. I'll meet eyewitnesses.
Usually it's very bright, yellow-white. Sometimes it kind of changes colors.
It looks solid, but it's not. It grows, but then it shrinks.
It glowed, radiated out, but there was a very obvious center to the ball.
And explore some of the most intriguing theories.
In my mind, I consider it a ghost.
I would almost certainly say it has to be a natural phenomenon.
There definitely is something there. The question is, what is it?
My ultimate mission.
Where? I can't see it. I can't see it.
To find a scientific explanation for the Hornet Spook Light. My investigation centers on a 6.5-kilometer long stretch of road on the border between Oklahoma and Missouri, known for over a century as Spooklight Road.
We're literally in the middle of nowhere. I haven't even seen a road sign. I should imagine it's pretty creepy at night. There's no lights, apart from the spook lights, hopefully.
I'm starting my inquiry by interviewing local attorney and paranormal investigator Lisa Martin. I'm hoping that she can provide me with leads to eyewitnesses. Lisa first saw the floating balls of light when she was a teenager and has spent the last 30 years exploring the phenomenon here on Spooklight Road. Tell me about the first time you ever saw them.
The first time I ever saw the spook light, I was on this stretch of road, sitting in a car with 2 or 3 people, and then suddenly a light appeared, a few yards in front of the car.
Can you give me some idea of what it looks like?
It's about the size of an American basketball, and usually it's very bright. yellow-white. Sometimes it kind of changes colors with a blue or green tint, even a red sometimes. Sometimes it separates into 2 or 3 smaller ones.
There's sometimes more than one light.
Yeah, it's different at different times. It really is.
Wow.
And you can watch it sometimes float for a good distance, and sometimes it's more stationary. You see them floating through the fields or through the treetops, and sometimes they're low to the ground. So, I mean, it's not the same every time, no.
So how many times have you actually seen it?
I've probably seen it 25, 30 times over the years.
What's your hit rate? When you come here, how many times do you see it and how many times do you not see it?
I'd say you see it a third to 50% of the time.
That's not bad.
No.
Then, Lisa shows me first-hand evidence of the spook lights, taken during her most recent encounter.
Oh, wow, so this is it here?
Yeah.
So presumably this red is your headlights?
Yeah, that's from the car lights, yes.
And you just spotted it down the road. How far down is that, would you say?
It was probably 1,000 yards. It was quite a ways down.
Okay. I mean, I guess if you'd shown me that photo and didn't tell me the sort of background, I'd have thought it was like maybe a motorbike light, because it looks like a car headlight, but one's out.
Right. But it was probably 10 or 15 feet off the ground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So far too high to be a car or a motorbike. Is this something that pretty much everyone from this area knows about? Is it sort of...
yes. Yes, everyone knows about the spook light.
Lisa gives me a list of other eyewitnesses to talk to, each of whom claim to have seen the mysterious lights.
Thanks a lot for that. That's great. I'll give them a shout and see what they've got to tell me.
This meeting has kick-started my investigation. It's also given me a lot to consider.
I'm kind of thinking it's car headlights at this point. The photo she showed me, it looked like it was taken in this direction, and all I can see is a kind of very, very, very long straight road ahead of me, which sort of dips down a few times. And I've seen a few cars come towards me, and it's funny because you can actually see their headlights, and then the headlights disappear, and then they appear again as they come down the dips.
It's not hard to see how, at night, these could be interpreted as mysterious, traveling balls of light. But what I can't explain is why the spook lights appear to float in midair. I need a lead, so I arranged to meet one of Lisa's contacts straight away.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.
John Emmett grew up on a farm right here on Spooklight Road. He was just 16 when he saw it. I'm meeting him and his son Tristan at the exact spot of this sighting.
How are you?
Pleasure.
Alex, good to meet you. So Tristan, have you seen it?
No, I have not.
You haven't?
No.
Okay. Have you ever been out here to try and look for it? Or?
No, I haven't, but he's told me a lot of stories about it, so I've always been wanting to come out here and look at it.
Yeah. And you used to live in this house?
I used to live right here, yeah. Spent a lot of time out on this property.
And where were you when you saw the lights?
I was actually headed up to the pond, and I just happened to look up, and my first thought was that it was the sun. Because it's really bright, but then I noticed that it was bouncing and a lot closer than the sun should have been. So I realized at that point that it was a spook light.
Can you describe it?
Small sun, probably like a child's ball, approximately what, a foot or so, and yellow and oranges and reds colors, typical fire-looking glow to radiate it out, but there was a very obvious center to the ball.
How long did you see it for? How long before it disappeared?
It just kind of bounced away. It never really disappeared. Probably 30 minutes or so.
Oh, really? Quite a long time?
Quite a long time.
Yeah. Can you estimate how close you were?
I was probably 100, 150 feet from it.
So far, everything John has told me matches what Lisa also described. But then, I get an answer I wasn't expecting.
What sort of time of day was it?
7, 8 o'clock or so.
This was actually in the morning?
This was actually daytime, yeah. This was about like it is right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, contrary to Lisa's account, John saw the spook light in the light of day.
I know that there had been several encounters of it. My mom had seen it several times around the house, and she saw it kind of go by one of the bedroom windows. She thought it was a car, and then realized that it wasn't. There was no cars coming. And she said it split into a couple of pieces and into multiple balls. So That was kind of interesting.
The killer question is, what do you think now, 20 years on, you saw that night?
To me, it's probably just energy of some sort. Really couldn't say other than that.
And people that say it's just a car headlight or something like that, you say?
I think absolutely, there's no way.
Yeah.
You know, this has always been one of those, the folklore tales of the area. It's been seen for hundreds of years by the Native Americans, you know, on, so.
How many times did you see it growing up?
Just once.
Really?
That's the only time I ever saw it, was that one time.
I feel like my chances of seeing it have just gone from about here to about down there now.
You know, it's one of those things where it's almost like the universe has got to be just right, or you ain't gonna see it.
John's account has raised important questions in my mind about the Hornet Spook Light.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
If the light has been seen for centuries, then could my assumption that car headlights are the cause be wrong? I want to know for certain if this theory has any validity, so I'm heading to the nearest city. Joplin lies 24 kilometers northeast of Spooklight Road. It sits right on the edge of Tornado Alley, in an area vulnerable to extreme storms. In 2011, a Category F5 tornado flattened 30% of this city. And I can still see the level of impact as I arrive in town.
Wow. Completely rebuilt.
It seems the people of Joplin are no strangers to weird happenings in the natural world. My first stop is the Joplin Museum.
I think the museum's just down here on the right.
I want to find out more about the history of these legendary lights.
I was wondering if you had any information about the spook lights.
Well, by golly, we have quite a bit.
The museum's curator, Brad Belk, has collated an archive of material from some of the earliest documented sightings, but also has first-hand experience of this strange phenomena.
How many times have you seen it?
I'd say about 25 times or something like that, yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So what have we got here? Can you sort of take me through?
Well, we have all kinds of different things. We have some images of it. Then we've got newspaper clippings.
I can't believe how much stuff there is. And actually, it looks like a lot of it's very dated. So this kind of went back.
Almost definitely, yeah. I think the real heyday of this period was the 40s, immediately following World War II.
Is that right?
Yes, and then the 50s and the 60s. That's the atomic age. UFOs are being spotted. So it's a perfect sort of formula or timing for this phenomena to explode.
When does it actually date back to then?
It seems like 1880s, 1890s is when it starts to really percolate. And then in 1900, now then there are actual people that are writing through their diaries that I saw this in 1901 and that type of thing. And so clearly by 1900, it becomes then a phenomena that is real and is talked about.
The 1900s?
Yes, yes, yes. So this has been entertaining people for well over 100 years.
This information blows my car headlight theory out of the window, as automobiles didn't enter mass production in the States until 1908. With my first line of investigation discounted, I need to find a new lead. One of the names Lisa gave me was for an eyewitness who believes he knows what the spook light could be. To track him down, I'm driving 27 kilometers northeast of Joplin to the town of Carthage, where he runs an antique store.
So I'm looking for McBride's Antiques, which I think actually is this one on the corner. You must be Keith.
Hi, Keith McBride.
Good to meet you.
Nice to
Alex,
meet you.
yeah.
Nice to meet you, Alex.
Keith McBride developed a fascination with the spook light after his first sighting.
So tell me then, what sort of time of night was it and what did it look like?
It would have been about, I'd say about 1:30 in the morning. By the time we realized what it was actually really kind of upon us. I would say maybe 20 feet in front of the car. And as it got closer, it stopped. Well, then I realized for sure it wasn't a flashlight, it wasn't, you know, a motorcycle, it wasn't anything.
Yeah.
And it just kind of hovered there a little bit. And I mean, maybe 5 feet in front of the car by this time.
5 feet?
I'll never forget this. It grew. And then all of a sudden, like a rainbow effect, it started changing colors, it started pulsating and doing all these weird things. And I'm just sitting there in total amazement. I can't, what is this thing?
Then Keith's story takes a dramatic turn.
The guy that was driving the car, he freaked out. So he turns the car on, slams it down into drive, and as we're driving, we drive through it. It like illuminates the entire inside of the car. And that freaks him out. So like he hits the brakes and he kicked it sideways and stopped. And we're just sitting there, and I remember we all kind of turned around real slow, and it was back to the small little light, and it was just kind of moving down the road.
Keith's account is chilling, but it didn't scare him and his friends away. In fact, it made them curious enough to follow the light.
We were walking down the road, and then we saw it, and no sooner than we seen it, that's when it ducked off the road. So we kind of tried to keep pace with it, but it doesn't move that fast, so we were gaining ground on it, but we never could get more than 10 feet.
Keith tells me as they pursued the light, it seemed to change direction and pass through objects in what looked like an attempt to get away.
But when I saw it move between the trees, my perception of it changed, because I was like, well, this can reason.
Yeah.
And if it can reason, I probably shouldn't mess with it, because I don't know what it is.
What are your theories as to what it actually is?
I think it's a supernatural phenomenon. In my mind, I consider it a ghost.
So you don't feel that there's a scientific explanation for it?
I don't know how. It looks solid, but it's not. It grows, but then it shrinks. It changes colors. It maneuvers around things. So in my mind, it's its own entity.
God, that's so bizarre.
Keith's theory that the Hornet Spook Light is a paranormal phenomenon has given me an idea. Perhaps there are other instances of unexplained lights with paranormal associations, but where a rational, scientific explanation has been found. I head back to the hotel to start my search. As I sift through accounts, I find there are other cases of strange lights reported in the United States.
Something called the Paulding light. This is a light that appears in a valley just outside Paulding, Michigan. Has been seen since the 60s. It looks just like spook lights here in Joplin. The Paulding light, in popular folklore, has been attributed to ghosts, geologic activity, or swamp gas. There's also some mystery lights in Massachusetts, and they're known as the Hockomock lights. For hundreds of years, the Hockomock and surrounding areas have been a hotbed of reported supernatural events and strange sightings.
Known as Will-o'-the-Wisps, these lights have been the source of ghost stories for centuries. Some of the articles I find are written by an eyewitness called Randy Julius. He lives near the Hockomock Swamp in Massachusetts and has seen these mysterious lights numerous times. I need to talk to him to see what similarities they might have to the Hornet Spook Light.
Hello.
Hey, Randy. Can you describe what these lights actually look like?
Some of the ones I saw formed like a mist.
Yeah.
They came up and glowed. Almost looks like it's burning blue and greenish yellow, but shimmering.
Yeah.
You might see it for a few minutes and then all of a sudden it disappears.
This sounds weird enough, but what he tells me next is even stranger.
The will-o'-the-wisp, as you know, takes on almost the shape of a person. It's like a, it looks like some people describe it as a little kid with a burning sheet over him.
Wow.
Like tents of flame, and it all changes color, flickers, and, blues and greens. And if you approach that, it moves away from you.
You've seen that?
If you walk away, it follows you.
Really?
And repeats your movements.
This description is bizarre and explains why people might think they're seeing something paranormal. But does Randy know of a scientific explanation as to the cause of these eerie lights?
Presumably these swamps produce some sort of gas. What sort of gas is it? How does it?
It's methane.
Okay.
The Hockomock is famous for it, and when you walk through it, sometimes you can get a strong swamp smell, and bubbles will come up.
Okay.
And some people say if you put a match to those bubbles real quick, you can actually ignite it.
And what's actually igniting that?
Some people think there's like electrical charges, and when things are just right, all of a sudden it'll ignite, nothing comes, you know.
Randy tells me that studies of the Hockomock swamp have found high levels of methane and other gases, and that the will-o'-the-wisp effect has been successfully recreated in a lab. Swamp gas develops from the breakdown of organic matter in persistently wet areas. This process produces a combination of phosphine and methane gases which rise to the surface. The phosphine ignites upon contact with oxygen, acting as a chemical match for the combustible methane and turning the air above the swamp into a colorful mist. Is this the breakthrough I've been waiting for? Could methane be causing the mysterious Hornet Spook Light? With a new theory to investigate, I'm leaving Joplin and heading back to Spooklight Road. I've arranged to meet two Spooklight enthusiasts, Nick Campbell and Nate Chambers. As paranormal skeptics, they've been trying to find a scientific answer to the spooklights for the last few years.
Hey, Nick. Good to see you. Hey, Nate. How are you? Alex.
There was some research done into some spooklights, and they attribute them sort of scientifically now to swamp gases. Is there any possibility that could be the case here?
See, I think the problem with that is, well, we don't really have any swamps in this area.
Right. Missouri is one of the cave states in the United States. So if there is swamp gas, it could be related to something that's underground.
Nick and Nate tell me that in the 1940s, the Army Corps of Engineers carried out gas tests along Spooklight Road to see if they could find out what was behind the sightings.
They've tried to figure this out too because it's a common phenomenon.
So what gases were the Army testing for? Methane?
Yes, a lot of times they would test for the methane gases. Methane, especially back then, was top priority.
Did they actually find anything?
What they found wasn't as conclusive as what we would have hoped that they found. This area has a high level of radon occasionally, but all the natural gases were on level. They were spot on for what they should have been. So it wasn't anything to say this is definitively what's causing the spook light.
But you question that finding? You think that they've missed something, basically?
It's possible that they could have missed something. If they just did one investigation at one time, it's possible that they didn't do it the right spot or the right place.
Okay. From the research you've done and from the studies you've read, there is no unusual levels of methane here.
The handheld device we had, we really didn't get any results from that. Nothing that couldn't be explained by either cows or the pig farms that are in this area. I mean, most of that stuff would dissipate naturally.
What else did you test for?
We used our EMF meter, trying to test for electromagnetic field disturbances.
Did you find anything then?
No. The problem with this place is there's always traffic. If you look at the power lines here, kind of throw off some of that too. So there's just too much, I guess you would say, pollution almost. It's really hard to conduct a decent, experiment because you need a more controlled environment.
This isn't the definitive answer I was hoping for.
What do you think it is, you guys?
I would almost certainly say it has to be a natural phenomenon.
It's something that people have seen across the United States and different areas, and if those areas had the same physiological attributes, then perhaps we could say this is what's causing this everywhere we go.
Thanks a lot, appreciate it.
Pleasure meeting you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
My investigation is stalling. I found historical records to disprove the theory that car headlights are the cause of the spook lights. And with no evidence of unusual gas levels in the area, my methane theory can also be discounted. But Nate has sparked an idea in my mind. Perhaps there's something else in the landscape around here that's creating the Hornet Spook Light. I feel like I need to see these puzzling lights for myself. So I've arranged for Lisa Martin and her son Alex to meet me here on Spooklight Road.
What do we do now?
Well, wait for it to get dark.
As the sun sets, this barren land takes on a strange, eerie feel. We scan the horizon in the hope of catching a glimpse of the spooklight. But the only lights I see are ones from passing cars.
Is there a direction we have to look? Or would you just look everywhere?
It doesn't hurt to kind of keep watch all around you, but most of the times I've seen it, it's been down the
Down
road.
there.
Lisa's son explains that the majority of sightings from this position occur at night, when the observer is facing due west.
Yeah, it usually does come from the west, but it can be anywhere.
While we wait, I take the chance to question Lisa further on what her investigations into the legendary Hornet Spook Light have revealed.
So do you think the answer to what the spook lights are lies in some sort of spiritual thing we don't understand, or in there's a scientific explanation that can help us understand?
There's a lot of limestone in this area, and limestone has a lot of crystal in it, and crystal's very conductive for electricity and energy. Often, some of those spiritual type experiences, whether it's seeing angels or ghosts or whatever, tend to have an energy or scientific component. So I'd say it has something to do with the environment.
Okay.
Lisa has just given me a new lead. Perhaps there is something in the geology of the area that's causing these strange lights. Just as the sun drops behind the horizon, Lisa's son spots something.
You can see that down there?
On the left? Yeah.
Where? I can't see it. I can't see it.
Up on the left. Just down beneath the trees.
That's not a car?
I don't believe so. If it was the interstate, it would have turned off by now.
It's still there.
Or moved more.
It's flickering as well.
Is this the Hornet Spook Light?
I have seen it almost in that exact spot before.
It's kind of blinking, isn't it?
It will shimmer sometimes, but I can't say with certainty right now.
Whatever it might be, I want to try to get closer.
We can drive down there and have a look, can't we, I guess? Let's go.
We drive a mile down the road to the point at which we thought we saw the light.
I think it was behind that. We were actually higher up, so you can't see it anymore because it was on the left of the red light. But you can't see it from here because of the vantage point. We were actually higher up there. I think it might be because it's behind the brow of the hill. We'd have to go quite a way. Because I can actually, I don't know if you can see, but there's a
bit of a glow.
There's a glow, yeah. But there is a glow.
Walking around in the dark, I'm becoming increasingly frustrated.
Now, there's a light. It wasn't that, was it?
The house light?
Yeah.
No.
I doubt it.
No, it was further away, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I was seeing hints of red.
Yeah, it was further away.
And it would flicker, too. Remember how far off the road that is. It would be hard to see that.
Yeah. I'm starting to doubt whether there is a light over the hill now. But I still see that house light, and I still wonder whether that was it.
I'm not sure what we saw earlier, but I do know it's not down here now. After another 30 minutes searching, we decide to call it a night and head back to Joplin. The light I saw tonight was so far away, it was impossible to distinguish its source, but I am keen to follow up on the lead Lisa gave me.
There's a lot of limestone in this area, and limestone has a lot of crystal in it, and crystal's very conductive for electricity and energy.
Her words make me think of another unusual phenomena. I've heard reports of strange lights in the skies, before and during earthquakes. Known as earthlights, their appearance can vary widely. Back in the 1900s, a faint rainbow of light was reported before an earthquake hit San Francisco. 1988, Quebec. Locals described a bright purple globe of light, which appeared 11 days before a powerful quake. And more recently in Italy, just seconds before a tremor, people saw 4-inch flames of light flickering above a stone street. While none of my eyewitnesses has mentioned earthquakes in their reports, I'm still keen to explore the possibility that the Hornet Spook Light might be some form of earthlight.
So I'm on my way back to the Joplin Museum to meet a professor of geophysics called Dr. John Knapp, who will hopefully be able to shed some light on what these things actually are.
If there's a geological explanation for Missouri's strange spook lights, I'm hoping John will help me find it.
Hey, John, Alex.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Dr. John Knapp is an expert in physical geology. He's been studying this area for decades.
I'm intrigued to know more about these earthlights.
People have noticed, probably for 50 or 60 years, that when earthquakes occur, that sometimes there's lights associated with the earthquake. If we go back to the 50s and 60s, most seismologists basically discounted that as anecdotal information. Now that we have lots of surveillance cameras, we've actually seen that this is a real phenomena, and so seismologists have spent more time trying to figure out exactly what this is. And we know that it happens maybe a few days before the earthquake, up to right until the earthquake. And so the reason seismologists are interested is because it might be a way to give a short-term earthquake prediction. That you suddenly see these lights, you've maybe got a few hours notice to warn people to move to a safer spot.
Can you tell me a bit more about how they are actually caused?
The idea was that when an earthquake is getting ready to occur, the quartz crystals within the rocks are starting to get stressed and squeezed or pulled, and so that would generate the electric field.
This electric field then travels up through the rocks and bursts out at the surface, making colorful electric discharges in the air, known as earthlights.
Can you describe what the light would look like? Would it be a long, long light in the fissure of the earth, or would it be just one sort of ball? Or
one explanation of what it might be like is you might see something like an aurora type effect right above, say, where the fault area is. Or it can have the effect like lightning and actually shoot off and discharge on something else.
But could this be what's causing the Hornet Spook Light?
Are there any earthquakes here?
No, not really. And the reason is because we're not near a plate boundary. Nearly all earthquakes, certainly significantly large earthquakes, occur on plate boundaries.
In fact, Missouri is situated right in the center of the North American plate. Because 90% of earthquakes occur on plate boundaries, the chances of an earthquake happening near Joplin are slim. According to the US Geological Survey Earthquake Hazard Map, only the southeastern corner of Missouri has any notable seismic activity.
So with no earthquakes, could we get earth lights in this area?
No, I wouldn't think so. I think we can discount earth lights as being the source of the spook light.
That's another theory of mine discounted.
But as a scientist, you're still referring to the spook light as if it is something there. I mean, you believe these people and you believe these sightings.
Absolutely. I mean, we have photographs of it. We have hundreds of people who've seen it, and they've seen it consistently for over 100 years. So there definitely is something there. The question is, what is it?
My investigation into the Hornet Spook Light is stalling. I've ruled out car headlights as the cause.
You know, this has always been one of those the folklore tales of the area. It's been seen for hundreds of years by Native Americans, on.
No traces of gas have been found at the site.
All the natural gases were on level. They were spot on for what they should have been.
And with a distinct lack of seismic activity, there's no evidence to suggest they're earthlights. While I'm fast running out of theories, one thing John said has stuck in my mind. Both earthlights and swamp lights involve electrical charges in the air, But there's another natural phenomenon, which is perhaps nature's greatest source of electricity. Lightning. Scouring the internet, I see footage of ball lightning, which looks remarkably similar to how spook lights have been described. As this area is prone to extreme weather, could there be a link? I find an article on the subject written by meteorologist Bob Swanson. I track him down to Mississippi and arrange a phone call. I want to know if he thinks ball lightning might be behind the strange case of the Hornet Spook Light. Hey, Bob.
Hello, Alex. How are you?
Good. I wondered if you could give me a 101 on ball lightning and explain what it actually is.
Ball lightning happens after a lightning strike. Lightning, which is super hot, super energetic, when it hits the ground, can actually vaporize some of the silicates within the ground and create a plasma of excited silicon atoms.
How big is that, and what does it look like?
Anywhere from grapefruit size to maybe a yard in size. And it's just essentially a glowing white ball.
Does the original lightning strike then disappear and just leave this ball on its own?
Correct. The lightning strike is required in order to create the ball lightning, but then of course, ball lightning can last for several seconds after the lightning has gone away.
But is it over in a matter of seconds, not minutes or
No,
hours?
that's exactly right. Once all the silicon atoms have given off their photons, then the silicon atoms disperse into the atmosphere.
So unlike the eyewitness descriptions of the spook light, ball lightning vanishes almost instantly. And that's not the only problem with this theory. So for the spook light to actually be ball lightning, it would have to be stormy every single time it was seen?
Right.
Which I know it wasn't from the eyewitness accounts.
It's really a stretch to blame this on ball lightning. To have lightning striking in the same spot outside of Joplin, Missouri, over and over again, and creating ball lightning every time that it does so, is really beyond the scope of credibility, I believe.
Okay, so effectively we're ruling out ball lightning.
Yes, I'd rule out ball lightning.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
My pleasure, Alex.
I feel like I'm back to square one. I look over my investigation to see if there's something I've missed. I still can't shake the idea that car headlights could be responsible. And apparently, I'm not alone. The name David Richardson is mentioned in numerous articles. A physicist from Northwest Missouri State University. He too believes that car headlights could be behind the Hornet Spook Light. But not in the way I'd first thought. Hi, is that David Richardson? He agrees to meet me to talk through his theory. I went down to Spooklight Road, and the first thing I thought was, well, this is obviously just car headlights coming over the hill. And then I thought to myself, no, it can't be, because if it's a car coming towards you, eventually that car's going to come past you and you'll know it was that car. So I discounted that, but you still have a car headlight theory. Can you explain what that is?
The road faces east and west, and along that line, if you follow the road directly west, you lead up to the major road, Route 66.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a fair distance away, but there are these refraction effects, which are essentially a reverse mirage.
Okay, explain that.
Well, a mirage is when you have warmer air towards the ground and colder air above. The warmer air makes light travel faster than it does in colder air. And so it actually causes light to bend, and it bends upwards. So when you see a mirage, what you're actually seeing is a reflection of the light coming from the sky in the distance.
Ah.
And so a reverse mirage really does the reverse of that, in that the ground is cold, which makes the light go a little slower, and then the upper atmosphere is a little warmer. And so the light will actually bend downwards at that point.
And that's what we're thinking is happening with
that's
spook
what we
lights.
think is happening with the spook light.
But David has never actually put his theory to the test. So I'm a car on Route 66, and I'm shining my headlights this way because I'm driving in this direction. What's happening to my lights, my headlights?
So the headlights are going to come along the road, but most headlights also shine upwards a little bit. And then when it passes over the hill part where it's a little colder, the air will start to bend back down again. and we'll head back towards the Spooklight area.
Ah.
So people could see it on that road, but really only on that road.
Would the light itself look like what people have described, like a glowing orb?
The light may blur together, so you don't have two headlights, you just have one. Atmospheric conditions are going to cause it to distort and change its shape, and so it could look like any sort of ball-like shape. Size-wise, it's hard to tell what it would look like, but it would definitely look like a flickering, moving light that existed for quite a period of time.
How important is it for the climate to be exactly right for this to happen? And also, how common is that?
The further that the light traveled, the less important it would be to have it at an extreme temperature difference. The 14 or 15 miles from Route 66 is a fairly large distance, so you get a fairly steady bending of the light.
So in other words, the 14, 15 miles means that this can happen quite commonly?
It would probably happen fairly regularly.
This could be the breakthrough I've been waiting for, but I still have a nagging doubt in my mind.
The only flaw in this theory is that the sightings of the light predate the motor car.
Right.
So how do you explain that?
These major roads are generally built upon older roads that may have been used by the mining trains that would have had their own lights that were pre-headlight, so that would have been stagecoaches or whatever they used.
So these would have been like lights on a horse and cart?
Yeah, just straight hurricane lamps or whatever was needed for them to see their way through the night.
David's explanation is convincing, but there's only one way to find out if it's correct. We head back to Spooklight Road to put his theory to the test.
So this is it?
Yeah.
So Route 66 should be in a direct line with this, presumably?
Yeah, it should be a straight shot, 15 miles past that.
Should be down there.
Yeah.
If conditions are in our favor, from where we're standing on Spooklight Road, we should be witness to the Hornet Spook Light. Then we'll need to confirm that it is in fact coming from cars on Route 66. To do this, David has brought along a powerful telescope.
So if we saw the spook light tonight, would you be able to look at it through this telescope?
Yeah, it should be clearly visible through the eyepiece. Because it's so far away, you can't distinguish it because your resolution of your eye is not good enough to see two headlights separated 15 miles away. Yeah. But this could. So it would be a valid way for us to determine if it is headlights.
Oh, great. Let's hope. It's a clear night.
As nightfall approaches, I catch a glimpse of a light in the distance. It looks similar to the one I saw when I was out with Lisa.
All right, let's see what we got. It's about there.
Yeah, you should see two telegraph poles and then two lights, one either side, and it's the one on the left that we're looking at.
Okay, there's the light. That's the orange one, which I think is the one over there. I'll focus it up for you.
Okay, yeah, so what have we got there then? It's a very weird group of orange and white lights.
And they're kind of fuzzy and
flickering, yeah.
Which suggests there's a lot of atmospheric interference between us and them, which suggests they're quite a distance away.
So you think that could be the spook light?
Possibly. I mean, it's flickering.
What's flashing then?
Through the telescope, I can see a number of lights on the brow of the hill. They're moving and merging together, just as the spook light has been described as doing.
Occasionally I can see like a flashing orange light.
If you look underneath towards the base of it, you can see red lights and white lights like headlights going by.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something with a road nearby.
Yeah, now I can see a red light. No, that's definitely some traffic. But you can see why somebody sitting here at night might think, oh, that's it, because it keeps disappearing and then coming on and changing colours and...
But rather than it being a ghostly apparition, we've confirmed that this distorted orb of light is coming from vehicles heading east on Route 66. David's theory is correct. In normal conditions, lights from cars coming up the hill will shine in a straight line skywards and not be visible on Spooklight Road. But when the temperature layers change, so does the movement of light. Light rays travel faster through hot air than cold, So when the top of the light hits the warm air, it moves faster than the bottom and is effectively bent back down towards the ground. As the bent rays enter the eyes of someone standing on Spooklight Road, they create a mirage of an eerie, hovering spooklight.
You're catching a cold?
Yeah.
I've reached the end of my incredible investigation.
Well, thanks for inviting me. It's been a very interesting time.
Yeah.
Thanks to David's research, I finally found a scientific answer for the Hornet Spook Light. Eyewitness accounts described something out of this world.
My first thought was that it was the sun. But then I noticed that it was bouncing and a lot closer than the sun should have been.
It grows, but then it shrinks. It changes colors. It maneuvers around things. In my mind, I consider it a ghost.
But this strange light isn't a haunting spirit or the result of local geological factors.
There was some research done into some spook lights, and they attribute them sort of scientifically now to swamp gases.
I think the problem with that is, well, we don't really have any swamps in this area.
People have noticed that when earthquakes occur, that sometimes there's lights associated with the earthquake.
Are there any earthquakes here?
No, not really.
This unexplained orb is created by unique atmospheric conditions.
There are these refraction effects, which are essentially a reverse mirage.
And that's what we're thinking is happening.
And that's what we think is happening with the spook light.
When light waves from vehicles 24 kilometers away hit warm air above, they will be bent back down and appear as the Hornet Spook Light here on Spooklight Road. But there's one final thing I want to do.
I'm actually going to drive down to a section of Route 66, which I believe could be the source of these spook lights.
As I turn onto the famous road, it's just seconds before I see exactly what I'd hoped to.
There is a hazard light, like a flashing orange light that's going back and forth. And I saw this in David's telescope from the Spooklight Road. And it was exactly the same. I could see cars, white headlights coming, but I could also see the red lights going the other way. And I could see this orange hazard light flashing back and forward, but it was all kind of mingled into one. Now I'm here, it makes perfect sense, and it's right at the intersection of where Route 66 turns, and it lines absolutely perfectly with Spooklight Road. So the truth of the matter is, it's nothing to do with earthquakes or crystals cracking or geology or anything like that. It's quite a simple explanation. We are the Spooklight, and people who are sitting on the grass verge on Spooklight Road are looking at me and wondering what I am.
In this world, fact is often stranger than fiction.